as one of our sessions here for Small Business Week. Today, the topic is Securing Your Online Presence, a practical guide for small businesses. And we have Kieran here from TUCU Managed IT Services. And before I get started, I just want to give a brief introduction about BACD for those of you who maybe this is your first time attending a BACD session. We are the Small Business Center for Ontario, and we provide startup guidance and help for those who are looking to start a business, grow a business in Durham Region. So thank you for joining us this morning, and I will hand it over to you, Kieran.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Hi, everybody, and thanks for the good introduction. So we're going to be covering some practical steps on how to implement and protect or implement protection for your online business. And even if your business isn't online, you're going to learn some important fundamentals for getting that outreach. So if you do have questions, relevant questions during the session, like the definition of a word, feel free to reach out and Ashley will ping me. And if you need to step away, we will be sharing the recording and the slides afterwards. So before we dive in, I'd just like to share a little bit about TUCU. We are a small business that helps with tech aches that slow you down and cybersecurity solutions that protect your business and livelihood. TUCU was started in 2003 by Adam Thorne, who left his career in network security at CIBC to break out as an IT consultant. Since then, we've been helping small businesses across the GTA and the Durham region. So our goal is to help savvy business owners manage and grow their business using the best practices of modern IT management. We aim to build a stronger community by hiring all local staff for full-time roles and helping small business owners so that they can stay competitive and secure in an ever-changing marketplace. We are certified with Microsoft, Google, and Apple as partners, so we can help you with any setup that you prefer. And as a small team of 9, we practice what we preach. Everything I'm sharing with you today are things that we've implemented either here at TUCU or for our clients. So today we're going to focus on some low-cost steps that reduce your risk and protect your reputation. Let's get into it. First off, you're going to learn 5 free or low-cost steps that you can take right now to protect your online presence. Then we're going to learn 4 security controls to keep in mind as you grow and scale your business. And lastly, you'll be provided with a free guide at the end of the webinar. So before we start, if you've experienced any IT security issue in the last year, you can type yes in chat and I'll call out a couple of the responses. Okay, no yeses is good. Okay, so let's start with why. Why do you need to secure your online presence? Think of cybersecurity as protecting your good brand name and the relationships that grow your business. Your company's reputation is tied directly to your consumers' trust in your brand, your brand's personality. Customers are going to judge your business by how professional and secure your brand appears. So, for example, a secure website, clear handling of customer data, these things will help make people feel more comfortable in buying from you and recommending you to others. On the other hand, a security incident like a data leak or a hacked website can quickly damage your customers' trust in your brand. So small businesses are actually targeted a lot more frequently than people believe, and that's often because they're perceived as easier to compromise. Many cyber threats today are fully automated, and attackers target the lowest hanging fruit first. They're very opportunistic. So implementing basic protections raises that bar and often deters the most opportunistic attackers. IT security is risk management. You don't need enterprise budgets to get meaningful risk reduction. So the consequences of a security breach can go far beyond the immediate fallout of ransomware, lost data, or lost revenue. There's also the cost of remediation and long-term reputational damage. Prevention is almost always cheaper and less disruptive than a response, so investing resources in simple, proactive steps is worthwhile. So let's get into some actionable items. How do you secure your online presence now that we know why? First of all, you need to secure your domain. Your domain is your online name. It's the foundation of your online presence. It controls your website, your email, and a lot of other aspects of your brand. If an attacker gains control of your domain, they can redirect traffic, they can intercept email, they can fully impersonate your business. So securing your domain is one of the highest priority and low-cost actions that you can take. Here's how. First of all, you're going to want to use a trusted registrar or MSP. Registrars are responsible for keeping track of domain names across the internet, and this is where you'll purchase your domain name. Reputable registrars have better support, security features, and recovery processes. So if your domain is currently with a low-quality registrar that does not offer the following features, consider transferring to a well-known one that does. First of all, you're going to need to protect your registrar account. Once you've bought the domain name, make sure to enable multi-factor authentication on the account, use a strong, unique password that's stored in a password manager, and ensure that all the recovery details are controlled by the business, not a contractor, not a personal account, not an ex-employee account. Next up is WHOIS privacy. We need to enable WHOIS privacy. That'll help hide your personal contact info from something called a public WHOIS record. This will help reduce spamming and scraping. I made the mistake in college of not doing this, and I'm still getting calls. It's like 10 years later. It's literally never going to end. Lock your domain, so registrar lock. This prevents unauthorized transfers to another registrar. They should be enabled by default, but ensure you go and review that it's enabled regularly. Finally, turning on DNS security extensions or DNSSEC. This essentially helps something called DNS spoofing by ensuring that all of the responses are authenticated. That means visitors will always reach your real site, not a fake one. If you do enable DNSSEC, just schedule a brief downtime window or maybe a time where it's more low traffic for your site, and make sure to follow your DNS provider's setup guides exactly. Just a quick practical note before we move on. Make sure to set a reliable payment method on auto renew. If your domain accidentally expires due to non-payment, it can be taken over by another company, or you can just lose access to the domain forever. So that's a pretty disastrous fallout there. Just moving on, we're going to talk about securing your website. I believe somebody said that they were actually building a website, so this will be especially relevant for you. There's something called TLS or SSL. That's the technology behind HTTPS. What it does is encrypts your data between visitors and the site. So this helps protect credentials, form submissions, and customer information. Beyond security, it's also a trust signal. Browsers like Google Chrome will actually label your website as not secure if you don't have HTTPS, and search engines often prefer secure sites. So if your site isn't labeled as secure, visitors may actually be blocked from accessing your site entirely, payment forms can be blocked, and customers may just abandon the purchase entirely. So next up, we're going to get into how to get and manage certificates to keep HTTPS working more reliably for you. So first of all, you're going to need to obtain a certificate. So here's kind of a list from the most difficult to easiest to set up. First of all is Let's Encrypt. This is a free automated 90-day certificate renewal. It can be a bit more challenging to set up depending on your web host. Some of them have a one-click Let's Encrypt, but in most cases, you're going to need to log into the server backend, install it, and configure it. So it's a little more complex to set up. Secondly is content delivery networks or web application firewalls. Services like Cloudflare or Fastly. These can provide and manage your HTTPS at the edge. And that kind of simplifies setup because you don't need to go install something or configure it on the web server itself. Finally, many of your hosting providers may be provisioning and auto-renewing certificates for you as part of your hosting. That's obviously the easiest one to do. If you've got somebody that already knows how to do it and you're paying them, let them handle that for you. If you do use any external vendors like payment processors, widgets, or add-ons on WordPress, verify that they support HTTPS and won't load insecure resources that can label your site as insecure. The free guide we provide at the end will include some tips on configuration best practices with this. So, with your site secured via HTTPS, we're going to move on to the next critical area of securing your online presence. It's going to be email. So we want to use professional email services. that allows you the use of a branded email domain, something like kieran@tucu.ca. That immediately signals professionalism and trust to customers. What this means for you is that using an @gmail or @hotmail.com address may be convenient, but it's actually harder for your clients to tell it really is you. Anyone can sign up for a Gmail or Hotmail account, and they can use any name they want. That makes it a lot easier for bad actors to impersonate your business. So the gist here is that professional email services with a branded domain reduces client confusion, improves brand recognition, and they're easier to secure and monitor than personal or free email accounts. So now we know why it's important to set up the branded email address. Let's get into the details of what you need to do to get started. First of all, if you don't have a domain name, register one in the business name. You can go back to slide 12 after this webinar and reference the registrar. That's where you'd buy your domain name. So the setup of an email service can be a bit complex. We're going to include some tips that you need to take or steps that you need to take in the guide after this webinar. For now, we're just going to cover the two main providers in this space. They don't just offer email services, they also offer security, cloud storage, and productivity applications. You might be familiar with Excel. So Google Workspace offers the most user-friendly administration tools and strong default security policies, but they provide only basic device management capabilities. Google kind of lacks advanced security controls and advanced endpoint management capabilities, which ends up making it harder to scale as you grow. Microsoft 365, on the other hand, integrates directly with the Office applications and offers advanced admin controls for scalability and provides robust device management capabilities, but Microsoft 365 can be a little more difficult to learn to administrate. So it's recommended to work with an IT provider when using Microsoft 365. So finally, just a few security and management tips. When you do sign up for an email service, decide on a naming convention. It means everyone has a standardized email address, like kieran@tucu.ca, shannon@tucu.ca, or zoe@tucu.ca. Ensure you perform regular audits of all your active accounts. Deactivate any accounts of staff that have left the company. If somebody had left the company 6 months ago, their email address should be completely deactivated, the license removed, all that stuff. It's going to save you money. It's also going to save you some hassle if they get compromised and nobody's looking at the account. Create a separate account to administrate your email service. So it's important that you don't use the same account that you use to reset everyone's passwords to also email your clients from, and protect that special admin account with a strong, unique password and two-factor authentication. Super important. Don't rely on forwarding from a personal account. When you do switch over to professional email services from an @gmail.com account, which would be considered a personal account, you may need to forward mail for the first couple of months, but plan obsolescence for that. It's not going to be easy to keep security and auditing consistent if you're using that @gmail account for a long time. All right, so next up, we've set up the email domain. We've got to talk about securing it. This is one of the highest risk channels for attackers. Attackers can spoof or impersonate your domain, and they can phish customers and staff. They often would spoof or impersonate somebody in the company, like a VIP or one of the business owners. So protecting your email domain reduces that risk. It improves deliverability and preserves trust. So 1 second. Just been a little sick the past few days, thankfully. My voice is back today. So on the next few slides, I'm going to walk through some of the key technical controls. It's called SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. It's a bit of a mouthful, but we're going to also cover a few operational steps that you can put in place right away. And this is where many small businesses do fall behind, so it is worth taking the time to get it right. All right, so you're now using your reputable email provider, you got your branded email address, you have separate accounts for administrative tasks. We got to take these concrete steps to protect your email from spoofing. These are technical, so you can ask your IT provider to do these for you. It should really not take them more than an hour to do. You can rest your eyes now for a bit. I'll get a bit technical, but I won't talk jargon at you. And we have included the actionable steps and technical details in the free download. So we're going to get started first with SPF. SPF is Sender Policy Framework. What it is a DNS record that lists which mail servers are authorized to send mail on behalf of your domain. I can set up my email server at home. I can tell it to send email as if it comes from Microsoft.com. My server will not know any better. It'll send mail as whatever I tell it to. It's actually up to services like SPF to verify that the mail came from an authorized server that Microsoft has listed. So, for example, if you do use Google Workspace, you would want to specify this example as your authorized email server. You can also use SPF to designate third-party servers like HubSpot or Zoho, and that'll allow you to send mail using your domain by also leveraging these powerful CRM tools, and that keeps your domain secure from impersonation. Moving on, we're going to talk about DKIM. This one is a little bit more technical. What it's doing is encrypting your outgoing messages using a unique signature for each email. Your email recipient server will verify the authenticity of that signature by using a public key algorithm to verify the private key that's attached to the outgoing message. This is called key pairing encryption. So when you do receive an email signed by DKIM, this might actually show the person's email is verified with a few providers like Google. Your clients will be able to trust that your emails came from the correct source when you're using DKIM. And ultimately, this actually helps ensure your mail gets through spam filters. So if you've been having trouble with your mail ending in junk all the time, this is probably the reason why. Finally, we're going to implement DMARC. This ties your SPF and DKIM together and allows you to determine what happens with your mail your customers received from a bad actor or an unverified sender. It also provides you with the ability to monitor how much of your mail is not making it through your customer spam filters by providing DMARCian reports on a daily or weekly basis. So with these three tools set up, you reduce spoofing and phishing risks significantly. And the steps to set these up are in the free download, or your IT provider can do this for you in about an hour or less. Next up, we're going to talk about something that's probably going to be relevant to everybody here, and that's securing your online profiles. So you need to claim and control your business profiles. It's a simple high impact step that you can take today. An unclaimed or unmanaged listing can be edited by others. It can show wrong hours or contact info and enable impersonators to actually trick your customers. By claiming your profiles, you actually can protect your brand, improve discoverability, and reduce the opportunities for scams and confusion. I'm going to walk you through the core listings to claim and how to manage them so that your profiles remain accurate and safe. How many of you have claimed your Google business profile? Just type yes or no in chat. Oh, I think the chat is frozen for me. There we go. It's working now. Okay, so I see most people have not claimed it yet. Okay, perfect. So this is going to be relevant for everybody, I think. Okay, so you may have encountered something like this when trying to find information about a local business, perhaps a laundromat. This is from personal experience. They had their page hijacked, and their website now goes to a phishing page. So whenever you click on it, it tells you your computer is a virus, and it doesn't. It's just trying to get you to call a phone number or something. Another example is a few weeks ago, someone actually called one of our clients impersonating Google. She ended up granting them access to her listing, and then they changed all the info on her profile, and she's locked out and trying to regain access. So there are a few concrete steps to claim and manage your business profiles. First of all, I think Alex said that he tried and couldn't get verified. I would recommend keep trying, just keep pushing them. But you're going to have to complete the platform's verification process. They may call you, they may send you a postcard, or they may send you an email. That lets you control the listing. Keep the verification methods that you use controlled by the business or the business owner. So if it is through phone or email or a postcard, make sure that's your phone number, your email, your address. Avoid using any personal accounts here. And when verifying, ensure that the business owner does have direct ongoing access to the account controlling verification if it isn't directly under their control already. Moving on, standardizing your NAP. That's your name, address, and phone number across all of the different platforms. So that means using the exact consistent business name, address, phone format, all the listing on all the listings, and that'll improve the customer trust because what people will do when they're looking up your business, they'll look it up on LinkedIn, they'll look it up on Google, they'll look it up on Facebook, and if that information isn't matching, they're going to trust your reputation, your brand a little less. They're going to look for another company that does have all of these matching, and they're going to trust them a little more. So just make sure to include the same hours, your official website link, all that stuff should be very consistent in all these different platforms. Finally, you're going to want to monitor for unauthorized changes. Keep a short list of who has access if more than one person does, and require 2FA on those accounts, of course. And just, keep an eye on the profiles. Log in every once in a while, make sure nothing has changed and that the information is accurate. Maybe once a month, once every 3 months. That should be good for you. So I'm just going to I'll post the link in chat after for the Google Business profile so you guys can get started on that right away. So we're going to talk about the actual listings now. First, I'd recommend starting with the Google Business profile, Bing, and Apple Maps. Then you can go for any industry-specific directories like Yelp, TripAdvisor, the Yellow Pages, and of course, one of the more popular ones is social media sites. That'd be LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. You can also check out your local chambers or boards of trade for any listings of your business. And be sure to claim any profiles that show your business, especially if you didn't create them. Recovering from impersonation or fraudulent listings can be very challenging. If you do find a fake or malicious listing, you're going to need to report it to the platform immediately and escalate it through their business support channels. Keep screenshots as time and timestamps as evidence when you do report these incidents. It can be a bit of an uphill battle, but it's very much worth doing. Next on, we're going to move to scaling security as you grow. So as your business grows, your attack surface grows with it, and so do your IT needs. What works for a 1 or 2 person shop won't be enough once you have multiple employees, contractors, or more public-facing systems. And hiring new help can be challenging enough, so preparing the way, i.e. scalability, is critical for any small business owner planning on growth in the next 3+ years. So we're going to touch on 4 security controls that you may need help with as you grow. And these do become essential once you grow from a 1 or 2 person company to a more person team. So these 4 controls are a password manager, identity and access management, endpoint management and backup, and vulnerability scanning. So the first thing we're going to cover today is something that you can actually do right away. That's setting up a password manager. As we dive in, if your business is planning on adding any more staff or contractors in the next 6 to 12 months, please type growing in chat. This section will be especially relevant to you. So first of all, why should you set up a password manager? Well, weak and breached passwords are actually sold on the dark web for a few dollars. Sometimes they're even free. You can just run a Google search on someone's email address and their password comes up. It's a bit crazy. But sharing passwords through emails or file is also not trackable or auditable. That means anyone can get a hold of it and you would never know. So your password could just be out there. In my teens, my mom actually used to try to limit our computer time, and she changed the password to the computer. Usually took like maximum 5 guesses to get in. She would use the same passwords over and over with slight alterations. When she did try to use a password that was more complex and people couldn't guess it, she couldn't remember it either. So that would cause a whole other problem. And so unless you kind of have memory superpowers, it's pretty much impossible for us to remember all the secure passwords we need these days. So this ends up becoming a really high risk, high security risk for your business. So instead, you want to give your team access to a secure password manager. So this is easy and low cost to set up. There are services like 1Password, Bitwarden, or Dashlane, and they can securely store and share your credentials. That means you don't need to send them through an email. This helps to eliminate password reuse. It enables strong, unique passwords for every single service, and it provides visibility into who has access to what. This one step to help protect each unique account will help if you get breached. So for strong passwords, length matters more than complexity. A 12 to 16 character passphrase is actually more secure than an 8-character password with special characters. And you can use the password generator tool in your password manager to create new strong passwords for every single account. You're going to want to change your passwords or update your passwords as needed, and the password manager will help you do that. You can easily change passwords for any service, and you might want to change passwords when an employee with knowledge of the password leaves, you suspect an account may be compromised, or a service that you use reports a data breach. Finally, you're going to want to ensure 2FA, or multi-factor authentication, is enforced on the password manager itself. Every single person should have a unique login. That means Zoe has a login, Kieran has a login, Adesho has a login, so on. And everybody should have 2FA enforced. That will help to ensure the security of the password manager, which is obviously very important if it holds all the passwords, right? So next we're going to talk about individual computer security. So securing endpoints and backups. So devices and backups are kind of where security meets resilience. These are common entry points for attackers, and backups are what get you back to business after an incident. So if your devices aren't managed or your backups aren't reliable, a single compromise or hardware failure can cause long outages or total data loss. So over the next slide, I'm going to walk you through some practical controls that you should have in place. Endpoint protection, patching and updates, encryption, and a backup strategy that you can trust and test. You want to test your backup. It's not a theory, it's a practice. So this is about prevention and recovery. All right, so for computers and your local networks, here's some concrete steps that you can implement today. Antivirus and EDR. You want to install a reputable antivirus or endpoint protection software on every device that accesses business systems. Oh, are my slides working? You guys see the checklist?
Yeah, we can see the checklist.
Diane's having issues.
Yeah, I'm just seeing the secure your domain slide.
Oh, you're still back
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
You might need to leave the meeting and then come back in to maybe refresh it, because I think everyone else can see, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All
So
right.
try that and let us know, Diane. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
I'll just wait 1 minute because I think Michelle is having issues too, so there might be a couple people. Okay. Okay, awesome. Oh, sorry, Michelle, could you mute? I'm hearing myself.
Kieran, your mic is echoing now. I don't know if that's just for me.
I think it's through Michelle's.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I'll just start from the top here. So antivirus and EDR. You're going to want to install a reputable antivirus or endpoint protection software on every device that accesses your business systems. If your budget does allow for it, invest in EDR or endpoint detection and response solutions. That will help provide you with advanced threat detection and response capabilities. So what EDR does is it actually correlates any virus detections, system logs, using machine learning AI to respond to threats before they can cause damage, or at the very least alert you of those threats. Also, make sure to respond to threats. Monitoring security alerts and actioning them immediately is important because research actually shows that 80% of alerts are ignored. Um, automatic patching and updates. So this kind of covers devices, this covers applications, this covers your antivirus as well. You want to enable automatic updates for your operating system, Windows, Mac OS, whatever you're using. You want to do it for critical applications on every single device. This is your first line of defense against known vulnerabilities. You want to keep your antivirus definitions and EDR policies updated automatically, and establish a consistent patching schedule for managed applications. Weekly is good, daily is better. You do want to create a rapid response process for any emergency security patches. So you may have heard of zero-day exploits and stuff like that. Sometimes Microsoft or other platform providers will launch these emergency security patches that require immediate deployment. Sometimes you've got to reboot right away for them. And finally, just reboot daily. These patches need your device to be rebooted to apply fully. So don't wait a month to reboot your device. Reboot it every single day. As soon as you're done work, reboot your machine. It's easy and it'll help respond. It'll help patch about 90% of your vulnerabilities. So host and network firewalls, just firewalls in general. A host-based firewall lives on your desktop or your laptop, your computer. These should just be enabled to prevent some of the most basic threats, and they should be enabled by default, but do double check that is enabled on your device. And some security providers will actually provide you with the ability to monitor that centrally. For office networks, if you do work from an office, you can use a network firewall, which is an actual piece of hardware that'll help you segment your guest Wi-Fi from internal systems, and it'll also help you secure your office network from other attacks that somebody could be even sitting outside your office in a van using some security tools to get in. It'll help with that. I won't go too much into the details there. So now we're talking about encryption of your devices. Encrypt all your laptops, mobile devices. They're built-in tools for this. macOS has File Vault. BitLocker is on Windows. Mobile platforms like your phone or tablets, they don't need you to go and turn it on. It's usually enabled by default, but it is something that you should check. This protects your devices and your data if it's lost or stolen. If somebody did grab your device and it wasn't encrypted, they could just yank the hard drive out of it and plug it into another one, and they have access to absolutely everything on there. So especially if you're not using a password manager yet and all your files, all your passwords are in a Word file or something, then they have all of that if your device is lost. Enforce device passwords, automatic screen locking, and screen timeout policies. So these are basic controls that prevent unauthorized physical access. Have you ever had a cat or maybe a small human start pressing buttons when you aren't there? Now imagine with somebody with that, what somebody with knowledge and bad intentions could do if you leave your device unattended for any amount of time. And finally, you want to disable any unnecessary services and use hardened baseline configurations where possible. There will be more in the handout about this, but basically they reduce your attack surface by turning off features and services on your computer that you don't actually need. Finally, we're going to move into take and test backups. So this is the foundation of data protection. It's about maintaining resilient backups that can recover from hardware failure, ransomware, accidental deletion, or complete disaster. You want to follow the 3-2-1 rule here. Keep 3 copies of critical data, store copies on 2 different types of media, and neither one of those types can be the device that you're backing up. And maintain at least 1 copy offsite or in the cloud, because something could happen to the building that your device is in. And if that's also the building that your backups are in, well, you've lost both, right? So what do you need to back up? Everything. Website content, databases, customer lists, financial records, and configuration backups for critical systems. Don't overlook the configuration files. Rebuilding a system from scratch can be a lot more time consuming than restoring from a complete backup. You could be taken down for weeks just because you're reconfiguring everything. Many backup providers do take care of the 3-2-1 rule for you, especially when the backup is something called cloud to cloud. So that'd be everything is stored in OneDrive or Google Drive and you back up to another cloud service. If you do require backups for your on-prem devices, these can affect your network. This can affect your network usage, so you're going to want to plan for that, and you'll have to think about the 3-2-1 rule a little more in that case. Okay, so just moving on from the endpoint management stuff, we're going to talk about adopting identity and access management. So this is basically who can log in and what can they do. It's the single most important control as you scale. A weak or unmanaged account leads to most breaches in small organizations. This is because attackers can exploit stolen credentials or overly permissive access. So once in, attackers try to use something called lateral movement. This is basically phishing other staff in the company that may have more access to them until eventually they gain access to the administrative account for the system. We're going to cover some high impact practices that you should implement right away. These are more practical, low cost controls that can dramatically reduce your risk. So here are the 3 controls. First of all, enable 2FA everywhere. I know I've been talking about it a lot. It's an extremely important thing, especially email, financial systems, and admin accounts. So even if a password is stolen or compromised, 2FA can help to stop unauthorized access. So if you don't have 2FA set up yet, start with your most critical accounts this week. Practice least privilege access. This means give people only the access they need to do their job. Not everybody is going to need admin rights. That's the ability to reset passwords, change system level configurations, install applications on a company endpoint, because that would also help let you install ransomware. So basically, everyone does not need access to everything. This will help limit damage from compromised accounts and honest mistakes. Finally, you're going to want to perform regular access reviews. Review who has access to what. Quarterly is realistic for most small businesses. Former employees, old contractors, and people who change roles often still have access that they shouldn't. Catching this can prevent problems before they happen. So these controls don't require any enterprise software or special licensing. And the guide that we're going to provide after will walk you through where to enable 2FA first, how to structure permission levels, and a simple quarterly review process that you can maintain on your own. Finally, we're going to go into vulnerability scanning. So finding vulnerabilities before the attackers do is one of the more cost-effective ways to reduce your risk. This is a repeatable, automatable way to discover misconfigurations, missing patches, exposed services, and common web application flaws. Start to think of scans as an early warning system. They won't actually stop a determined attacker by themselves, but they will find the obvious fixable issues, and they're going to stop you from being that low-hanging fruit that I was referencing earlier. All right, so vulnerability scanning can be a bit more rigorous and advanced. An IT department may need to manage it for you, but we're also going to provide you with the free guide on how to implement it should you choose to go the DIY route. You're going to want to first set up a realistic scanning cadence that fits your resources. You're going to need to understand how to prioritize your findings. That's based on real business impact, not just security scores. How is it actually going to impact your business, right? So here's what matters most. You have to perform periodic health checks of your IT environment by using various tools available. An example is EDR. We covered that a little bit earlier. Detection is worthless if you don't act on it. You have to address your findings. Like we've said before, 80% of alerts are actually not investigated at all, just completely ignored. So the document that we provide after is going to cover some of the different types of scans you need to know about, from external network scans to web application testing, how often to run them, and most importantly, how to fix what you find. So we have covered quite a lot today. Thanks for sticking with me. I know it's been quite a lot. Before we move to Q&A, here's just some of the key takeaways to remember and act on this week. First, you can get the free checklist from the good folks at BACD or our website. And then you can tackle the DIY steps that we talked about, including setting up a password manager, enable 2FA everywhere. I know I've said it like 13 times. Email, admin consoles, payment systems, everywhere you can imagine. Ensure you have reliable tested backups and practice at least one restore drill a week. So you know your recovery works. It's not just a theory that it's going to work when you need it. You know it's going to work. And get started on your professional email and securing your online profiles today. Finally, reach out to your IT provider for the more technical things like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC if the DIY is not your cup of tea. And we'll post the link in chat where you can direct download our resources. Thanks again for joining me. I'll open the floor to any questions now.
Thank you, Kieran. I am going to put the link for the guide in the chat, but I will also be emailing it out afterwards. There was a few people, I think Rothana, I didn't see you on our attendance list. I don't know if you're under a different name, but let me know in the chat. And yes, please feel free to drop any questions you have.
I mean, I have to work with other MSPs all the time, but we don't have another MSP that we work with often. We are, like I said, we are Microsoft, Apple, Google certified. So we do work with those resellers directly. And we do sell devices, but it's at a bit of a premium. I wouldn't recommend buying devices from us unless you are one of our managed clients because we have some special configurations for them. Oh, thank you, Ashley, for sharing that link. For some reason, it's not letting me share links in chat today.
I know there are a lot of questions throughout, but I believe Zoe answered all of them. So
I see.
that's why it might be a little bit quiet.
That's all good. If nobody has too many questions, that's fine. I know that the online profile stuff can be very challenging if you are trying to get access to it and you've been denied. It's a real uphill battle, but just don't give up on it. It's extremely important. If your clients are going to Google to find information about you and it's not accurate, they're just going to abandon it. I mean, personally, I just like that's what I do, and
You brought up a good point there, Kieran. I was just thinking because I saw a lot of no's in the chat about those that don't have a Google My Business profile, which actually surprised me. So we are having Teresa actually from BACD, our manager here. She is putting on a session on setting up Google My Business profile and optimization and how to create one if anyone is interested. So I will put that link in the chat. It's not till November 19th, I believe, but definitely take advantage of that session if you are interested in setting up a Google My Business profile. And just well, some of you might get in some last minute questions here. TUCU is actually one of our referral partners at BACD. So if anyone is ever having tech issues or needs those experts, we are always referring TUCU to our clients. So you can also find them on our website under our referral partners. And Kieran also put in the direct link to get started. If you want to get started earlier than November 19th, you can take a stab at that and see how you do. And then if you want more clarity on that, you can always come to the workshop. Thanks for putting that in there. But
yep,
yes,
no
Google My
problem. I know
Business profile. It's so important to have because that's the #1 spot that people always gravitate towards when they're looking for a product or service, right? So important. Hey, let me just finish the recording here.
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending, and thank you, Ashley, for helping me run through this. It's my first one, so hopefully I did okay and I was able to keep everybody's attention today, not put you to sleep. I know it's early in the morning.